This is the necklace that we're going to make. This one is made with Toho seed beads. And this is another one made with Czech seed beads. So the design works with either. And here's another one made with Toho seed beads. So let's talk about the materials we're going to need. For this necklace, you're going to need super duos and 4mm crystals or round beads. You could use pearls or drux or 4mm round crystals. These are 4mm bicone crystals. Technically, you could also use 4x6mm rondelle crystals. You're also going to need 11O seed beads. These are Toho seed beads that we're using today, but you could also use Czech seed beads, which are slightly smaller. That works in this pattern too. But if you do that, you're going to need some more crystals and super duos to make the necklace the same length or longer. So I have about 66 4mm crystals here, and that should make about a 16-inch necklace, including the clasp, because I'm using the larger Toho seed beads. You might need up to like 75 crystals if you're using Czech seed beads, or if you want a longer necklace, you need more. You're also going to need 6 or 8 seed beads to connect the clasp with jump rings. So let's get started. I'm using a size 10 needle with 6-pound fire line, and I'm going to start by stringing on a 6 or 8 seed bead followed by 3 11Os, and I'll string that on, and I'll go back through those seed beads to form a loop. And I'll tie a knot. And I'll go back through the large seed bead followed by the next 3. Okay, so flip it around so that it's pointing down. I add a super duo and 3 11Os, string that on. Then I'll go through the other hole of the super duo. Then I add 3 seed beads and go back through this hole, but I want to go back through the same way the thread's coming out. Add 3 seed beads, and now I want to go through the other hole of the super duo. Then I add 1 seed bead, and I want to go through the second to the last 11O, so the middle of the 3 we started with. This is the part that's going to repeat for the first row. I add on 4 seed beads, a 4mm crystal, 6 seed beads, a super duo, and 3 seed beads. And I string that on. I go back through the other hole of the super duo. I add 2 seed beads, 4mm crystal, and another seed bead. I string that on. I go back up through the crystal and the next seed bead. I add 1 seed bead and go back through the bottom hole of the super duo. I add 3 seed beads and I go through the top hole of the super duo only. Then I add 1 seed bead and I want to go through the second seed bead that's coming out of the left there and go through it this way. And that will pull that up and around. So we're going to repeat that. We add 4 seed beads, crystal, 6 seed beads, super duo, and 3 seed beads. String that on. Go through the other hole of the super duo. Add 2 seed beads, a crystal, and a seed bead. String that on. Go back up through the crystal and the next seed bead. Add a seed bead and go through the bottom hole of the super duo. Add 3 seed beads and go through the top hole of the super duo only. Then you add 1 seed bead and go through the, skip this bead and go through the second. We'll repeat the pattern one more time. We had 4 seed beads, a crystal, 6 seed beads, a super duo, and 3 seed beads. String that on. Go through the other hole of the super duo. Add 2 seed beads, 4mm crystal, and a seed bead. String that on. Go back up through the crystal and the next seed bead. Add a seed bead, go through the bottom hole of the super duo. Add 3 seed beads and go through the top hole of the super duo. Super duo only, no. You may want to go through the seed bead too, but you just want to make sure that it only goes through the super duo. Add 1 seed bead, skip this seed bead and go through the second. So continue that to the desired length of your necklace, and until you're about one component from the end, and then we'll show you how to finish the first row and start the second row. I've continued the first row, and the necklace is just under 15 inches long, almost 15 inches. I've counted 22 of these crystals along the top that I've put on. And so with the last component and the clasp, it should be about 16 inches, a 16-inch necklace, which is what I'm going for. So I'm going to put on the last component here of the first row. And so I've strung on, just like before, 4 seed beads, a crystal, 6 seed beads, a super duo, and 3 seed beads. And I just go through the other hole of the super duo. This time I add 3 seed beads. Instead of doing the crystal drop here, I just add 3 seed beads, and I go through the bottom hole of the super duo again, the same way I'm coming out. Then I add 3 seed beads, and I go through the top hole of the super duo only. I add 1 seed bead, I skip this seed bead and go through the next one. So now I've framed that last super duo. I add an 11-0 and a 6 or 8 seed bead, and I want to go through the last 2 seed beads on this side. And I'll go back through the seed bead and the large seed bead, back up through those same 2, reinforce that one more time, that loop, going through 11-0, the 6 or 8 seed bead, and this time I just want to go through 1 seed bead instead of 2 at the top here, on top of the super duo. So now I'm coming through this, coming out, up and out of this seed bead, and I want to go down these 3 seed beads along the side, where I should be coming out of the seed bead that's sort of sticking out. Now I'm ready to start the second row. So I will flip this over around to start the second row. Before I begin the second row, I'm kind of running out of thread here, so I'm going to continue my thread. Here I have a new thread that my needle is going through. So I'll just tie a square knot on these 2 ends. So now I've got a little bit of a knot there to continue. So let's start the second row. I'm ready to start the second row. The second row is going to be using only seed beads and super duos. And we'll start by putting on 7 seed beads, 11 O's, a super duo, and 3 seed beads. String that on. Now go through the other hole of the super duo. Add 3 seed beads and go back through the bottom hole of the super duo. Pull that tight. Add 3 seed beads and then go through the top hole of the super duo only. Add a seed bead, and you want to skip this seed bead and go through the second. Add 5 seed beads, and we want to go up through this above the super duo and down. So we want to start with the seed bead that's sort of sticking out here, and then the next 2 seed beads. So going through up through 3 seed beads. And then down through these 3 seed beads on this side to where you're coming out of the seed bead that was sticking out next to the super duo. So we add 7 seed beads, super duo, and 3 more seed beads. String that on. We want to go through the other hole of the super duo. Add 3 seed beads and go through the bottom of the super duo. Add 3 seed beads and go through the top of the super duo only. Add 1 seed bead and skip this seed bead, go through the second. Add 5 seed beads. And we want to go up 3 seed beads on this side, down 3 seed beads on this side. Starting with the seed bead that's kind of in that corner, sticking out up 3 seed beads, and down 3 seed beads. Let's repeat that one more time so that we get the pattern. Again, we add 7 seed beads, a super duo, and 3 more seed beads. String that on. We want to go through the other hole of the super duo. Add 3 seed beads. Go back through the bottom of the super duo. Add 3 seed beads and go through the top of the super duo, and making sure you go through the super duo only. Your needle may want to go through that seed bead there, but you want to make sure it's just the super duo. We add 1 seed bead, and we skip this seed bead, go through the second. So we add 5 seed beads. We want to go up, through, and down this super duo. Go through 3 seed beads here. And down 3 seed beads here. And that is the pattern for the second row. So we'll just continue that through the length of the necklace and show you how to start the third row. Okay, I've continued the second row and I'm on my last component, and I've put on 5 seed beads to finish that component, but instead of going up and down this super duo, I'm going to go up and go all the way around until I'm coming out of this seed bead to get ready for the third row. So I've added 5 seed beads, and I'm going to go up these 3 or 4 if I can get through it. And continue across the top. So I'm going through the 4 seed beads, crystal, and 4 seed beads along the top. And now I want to continue down this side until I'm coming out of this seed bead. So I'll go down as I can get through here. And I'll continue through these seed beads. Now I'm coming out the side of that super duo. So now I'm coming out of this seed bead and I'm ready for the third row. So I'm going to flip it around. Now this might flip over around like this, but to start the next row, just flip it around so that it's coming out next to this crystal here. Now the third row is exactly like the second row. I add 7 seed beads, a super duo, and 3 seed beads. String that on. Then I want to go through the other hole of the super duo. Add 3 seed beads. Go through the tip, the bottom hole of the super duo. Add 3 seed beads and go through the top hole of the super duo. Here we add a seed bead. We skip this seed bead and go through the second. Add 5 seed beads, and then you want to go up 3 and down 3 around the super duo, just like we did before. Starting with the seed bead that's sticking out, up through 3 and down through 3. So I won't repeat that again because it's exactly like the second row. The only difference is you're connecting through these second row super duos for the third row. So I'm going to continue this all the way to the end of the necklace. Okay, I have just about completed the third row. I am on my last component. So as I put on the last 5 seed beads, for the last component, I want to, instead of going up and down, I'm going to go up and around and all the way down till I'm coming out of this seed bead. So I've put on 5 seed beads to finish the last component, and I'll go up 4 seed beads here to start with. And I'll continue up through these seed beads until I'm coming up out of the seed bead that's before this last seed bead on the top of the super duo. That's where I can turn back to go back down and start here, continue it all the way down, and through the top of this super duo component and back down this side. And I'm coming out of this seed bead. I'm going to just continue until I am coming out of the side of the super duo. So now I am ready for the last row, the fourth row. So I'm going to flip this over. To get ready for the fourth row. Now you're all done with super duos. The last row, which goes a little bit quicker, is only seed beads and crystals. So we're going to start the fourth row, the last row, by putting on 8 seed beads, a crystal, and a seed bead. We string that on. Then we want to go back up through the crystal and the next seed bead. And we put on 7 seed beads, and when we want to go up 3 and down 3 seed beads around this super duo. So we go up through 3 seed beads, and down these 3 seed beads. Let's repeat that. Add 8 seed beads, a crystal, and a seed bead. String that on. Go back up through the crystal and the next seed bead. We add 7 seed beads, and we go up 3, down 3, starting with the seed bead sticking out, up 3, and down 3. Let's repeat that again. Add 8 seed beads, a crystal, and a seed bead. Go back up through the crystal and the next seed bead. Add 7 seed beads and go up 3 and down 3. Up 3 and down 3. So we just repeat that all the way to the end of the necklace. Okay, I'm about to finish the last component of the last row. I've threaded on 8 seed beads, a crystal, the last crystal, and another seed bead. And I string that on. And I go up through the crystal and the next seed bead. I add 7 seed beads, and instead of going up 3 and down 3, I'm just going to continue up all the way till I'm and go around this this large seed bead here. This is where my original thread started, and so I want to tie into that. So here I am. I'm going to go through 4 or as many seed beads as I can, going up this diagonal here. Keep going up. And I continue up. So now I'm coming out of the seed bead that is on top of the super duo. And here I want to turn some corners. I'll go through this next seed bead just before the large seed bead, through the large seed bead, through these two seed beads here, through this next seed bead again, and through the large seed bead. All right, so here is where I can tie a knot with the original thread I started with. And I can snip both of those ends. Okay, well, I have snipped the ends of the thread, and now I'm ready to attach the clasp. So I take my jump ring and I open it, feed it through the large seed bead, I attach the clasp, or add the clasp to the jump ring, and close it. Now we've got the clasp, we just need to add the jump ring to the other side. You take your jump ring and you open it. Feed it through the large seed bead and close it. And now we have a working clasp. And that is the finished necklace.